This edition of How I Make, we're going to talk about sizing inset doors, how to get consistent margins all the way around your door. So the first thing we want to do, and I've already done this, is we want to take the bottom of our door and just knock it flat. In this case, it's a drawer front door. It doesn't matter, our front. And what we want to do is check where we're meeting in the one corner to get it about as airtight as we can. The other thing we're going to look at is over on our right side here is what our margin actually is right now. Right now, this is way too tight. I've got a strong 16th, and I want to have a 3/32 margin. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this side here, and I'm going to buzz a 32nd of it off in the joiner. Okay, so I've got my joiner set at a 32nd of an inch. I'm going to check and kind of see which way my grain is trying to lay and what's going to screw me the least. We'll come back to our opening, double check, see how we are for our fitment. It's still really good. And now I'm going to probably go and screw that up a little bit because I want to edge sand this edge. Because I'm not going to sand it again after I edge sand it. So I'm going to do my best to keep it straight. Double check my fitment. I did a good job. Now, the easiest way to go about it, scriber, or compass if you want to call it a compass. I use it as a scriber. So I see a lot of guys, what they do is they get it, they shim the front up, and they get their gap at the bottom with shims, and they get on one side and they cut the fit on the other. It's a giant waste of time. Once you have one corner as a reference, you can take a scriber, mark whatever your margin is times 2. So I want 3/32, which is a 32nd in between an 1/8 and a 16th. Set your scriber at 3/16. Make a line. Make a line. Make a line, and we're good to go. So I put this face frame together, and apparently I did a very poor job. The stile is sitting cocked, or the door, or our front is way out of square. Either or, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to take this and just buzz off this back edge on the joiner a little bit and knock that off. Now knocking it off on the joiner, I've got a big line here, small line there. I'm actually going to start it on the outfeed and drop it in. Now I'm actually really close to my line. It's tough to see because it's walnut. There it is. There it is. Now we'll just finish that off by taking it to the line on the edge sander. Ooh, bad spot in the belt. Now that I've got my front edge sanded, and I was using a terrible spot in the belt, I'm just going to eyeball my margins and see what they look like. They're pretty ding-dong good. Another thing to keep in mind is orientation. So I have this one labeled. This is left opening, that's up. That way I know that when I put it in like that, it fits. There's other reasons too. This one, there's some grain that ties in with the other one. So like down here right now, I don't know if you can see it all that well. Not really. Doesn't really show up. But there's more of a gap there than there needs to be. Whereas if I flip it over, now we're airtight. And you can say, well, why don't you just make your face frames and your door square? You can't. It just never works out. You can get them really freaking good, but you can't get them perfect like you can this way. Remember that part where I was ripping on people for using the shims and everything? We still have to mount our front. I'm just temporarily mounting these. Normally we would wait until everything is finished before we put these on. But I do use a couple of shims. Just cut them in the shop. We've got a jig for them. We just cut them on the table saw. So all I do is I go through and I just eyeball it. I actually like to set my drawer fronts just a freckle high. It's not too shabby. I center it in the opening. I just reach around the backside with a pin nail. Pull my shims out. It's looking all right. Screw my front on. Ooh, almost dropped the impact. It's kind of an awkward angle having it up on this cart like this, but make it work. I'm going to take a piece of tape, double it over, give myself a tail, and that will act as a temporary handle while we're monkeying around with it. So if we look it over, pretty decent all the way around. I think I probably could have held it up a little bit more, but that's what we got adjustment for. Our drawer. Also, because I am going to be removing this drawer eventually, I didn't set my screw super deep. I just kind of snugged it up and called it good. When they get final attached, then I'll suck them up tight and then make that screw so it's sitting completely flush with the back of the drawer. Oh yeah. Thanks for watching.